Recording in progress. Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
All right, cool. We got 1:30. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to the Metropolitan Area Planning Commission meeting for Thursday, September 25th. My name is Brian Fry, and I'm the chairperson. Just as a quick point of order, we hope to keep opinions, debate, and controversy to a minimum today. But if you don't get your fill, the Wichita Wagon Masters Downtown Chili Cook-Off is Saturday. Lots of opinions, lots of debate, lots of controversy at that. So hope to see you out there. All right, with that being said, it is a shameless plug, yes. But we raise a lot of money for the community, and Mr. Dool is a wagon master as well. So with that, opening announcements are complete. Let's start with the recorded message.
Before we begin the agenda, the Wichita-Sedgwick County Metropolitan Area Planning Commission and the Wichita-Sedgwick County Board of Zoning Appeals would like to take this opportunity to welcome everyone to this public hearing. For those in attendance, copies of the agenda for today's meeting, the public hearing procedure, and Planning Department staff reports on all agenda items are available in the lobby. The Planning Commission's and the BZA's bylaws limit the applicant on a zoning, subdivision, or variance application and his or her representatives to a total of 10 minutes of speaking time at the start of the hearing on that item, plus up to 2 minutes at the conclusion of that hearing. All other persons wishing to speak on agenda items are limited to 3 minutes per person. However, if they feel that it is needed and justified, the chairman may extend these times by up to 2 minutes. All speakers are requested to state his or her name and address for the record when beginning to speak. When you are finished speaking, please share your name, address, and the case number on the sheet provided in the room. This will enable staff to notify you if there are any additional proceedings concerning that item. All speakers at the podium, please remove your face mask before speaking into the microphone. Please note that all written and visual materials you present to the Commission and the Board will be retained by the Secretary as part of the official record. If you are not speaking, but you wish to be notified about future proceedings on a particular case, please provide your contact information to the Planning Department. The Planning Commission and the Board are interested in hearing the views of all persons who wish to express themselves on all the agenda items. However, we ask that all speakers please be as courteous and concise as possible and avoid long repetitions of facts or opinions which have already been stated. For your information, the Wichita City Council has adopted a policy for all city zoning items. A copy of this policy is available from the planning staff. The City Council relies on a written record of the Planning Commission hearings and does not conduct its own additional public hearings on these items. The decision of the BZA is final. Any appeal of a decision of the BZA is to the district court.
All right, thank you. I should also, full disclosure, I failed to mention that Commissioner Hicks is an alum of the Wichita Wagon Masters as well, so. Woo-hoo. All right, next item is roll call.
Yes, sir. Fry.
Present.
Mater. McKay.
Here.
Dool. Bill Johnson.
Present.
Hi. Nix. Klontz. Warren.
Here.
Joe Johnson. Miles is absent. Zimbelman. Aldrich. Williams Bay. Sir, I show 14 members are present and 13 members are present and 1 member is absent.
All right, thank you, Mr. Wadle. Next item is 1.3, the approval of the prior meeting minutes from September 11th. And I show Commissioners Dool, Joe Johnson, and Williams Bay were absent.
Move for approval.
We have a motion to approve from John McKay and a second from Commissioner Warren. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. And abstain.
Abstain.
We have 3 abstentions. All right, thank you. Next, we will go through the agenda to see which items we can approve on consent. Starting with item 2.1, subdivision 25-38. That has been deferred to November 13th, so we will not be hearing that case. Item 2.2, subdivision 2025-45, which is a one-step final plat for the Bright Estates at North Hillside Avenue and East 93rd Street North. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 2.2 to consent. Item 2.3 is subdivision 2025-46, a one-step final plat for the Miller and Blazer additions, North Hillside and East 85th Street North. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 2.3 to consent.
Mr. Chairman, move to approve items 2.2 and 2.3.
Second.
We have a motion to approve from Commissioner Bill Johnson with a second from Commissioner Joe Johnson. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously. The vacation items, item 3.1, vacation 2025-38, has been deferred to October 9th, so we will not be hearing that case today. Item 3.2, vacation 2025-39. This is a vacation request for utility easement at roughly West Winger Street and South Maze Road. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 3.2 to consent. Item 3.3, vacation 2025-40. This is for a setback on North Rock Road and East Thorn Drive in Northeast Wichita. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this vacation request?
Yes.
The vacation request you would like to hear. So that's different than the zoning. You understand that?
I do kind of understand that they're trying to tie together.
Okay, so we, okay, that's fine.
Speak on the other one.
Okay, that's fine. We will hear item 3.3. So I need a motion to 3.2.
So moved.
Yeah, we have a motion to approve 3.2 from Commissioner Bill Johnson with a second by Commissioner Williams Bay. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Now the public hearing items. 4.1 is Zone 2025-39. This is from B multifamily residential to LC to OW, located at East First Street North and North Ash Avenue. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Ma'am, right now, I will ask for that. 1 second. Seeing none from the commission, are there members from the public who would like to hear this case? Okay, thank you. Is the owner applicant agent available for this case? Okay, good. So we will hear item 4.1. Item 4.2 is a PUD 2025-17, a zone change request from B multifamily and GC to a PUD at 944 South Topeka, roughly Broadway and Topeka. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? I see some raised hands. Is the applicant or agent available for this? Great. We will hear item 4.2. Item 4.3, conditional 2025-107. This is a conditional use renewal request in the county to allow construction and demolition landfill on SF20, roughly 47th Street South and South Hoover Road. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Commissioner Aldridge. So is the owner applicant present for this case? Okay, good. We will hear item 4.3. Item 4.4, conditional use 2025-110. Conditional use in the request in the city to allow an accessory dwelling unit on SF5 at South Fern Road and West Maple Street. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we can move item 4.4 to consent. Item 4.5 is conditional use 2025-113. Because the staff is recommending denial, we will hear this case. This is for to allow vehicle and equipment sales on LC property at East Kincaid and South Broadway Avenue. So hopefully the applicant or agent is present for this case. Good, thank you. Item 4.6 is conditional use Con 2025-116 for a car wash on property zoned LI, roughly North Rock Road and East 37th Street North. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing Commissioner Williams Bay requesting to hear that, and I know probably there's a person from, yes. So we will hear item 4.6, and we do have the owner applicant agent, correct? Yes, thank you. I forgot to ask this on the earlier agenda item. So item 4.7, which is PUD 2025-19. This is zone change request from manufactured housing district to PUD at the Park Village PUD, which is an RV and manufactured home uses, the northeast corner of South Greenwich Road and East Waterman Street. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Yes. We have a few. I see what, 1, 2, 3, 4 hands? Okay. Is the applicant agent available for this case? Yes. Good. All right. We'll hear item 4.7. Next page, 4.8. Zone 2025-40. Zone change request in the city from SF5 to LC, roughly Westlink Avenue and West Central Avenue. Are there any members from the commission who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, are there any members from the public who would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we'll move item 4.8 to consent. 4.9, which is zone 2025-41 with CUP 2025-29, has been deferred to October 9th MAPC meeting, so we will not hear that case.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve items 4.4 and 4.8.
We have a motion to approve from Commissioner Bill Johnson with the second by Commissioner Mr. Chuck Warren. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion approved unanimously. All right, so before we hear the MAPC items, we will we will recess to the Board of Zoning Appeals agenda, which, first item on the BZA agenda is the approval of the prior BZA meeting minutes from September 11th. And I show Commissioner Dool, Commissioner Joe Johnson, and Commissioner John Williams-Bay absent. So we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Zimmelman with a second by Commissioner John McKay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. And abstains,
Abstain.
Joe John. All good. Motion passes. So the next item is item 2, BZA-2025-54. This was deferred from 9/11 BZA. And I believe Phillips is doing the case today, right? All right.
Good afternoon, Planning Commission, or Board of Zoning Appeals. Philip Zievenbergen with planning staff. This item was deferred at the last Board of Zoning Appeals meeting on September 11th. I guess it was a month ago. No, it was 2 weeks ago. I'm on cold medication, so just kidding. The application has not changed. The purpose of the deferral was to give time for the planning staff and the applicant to discuss additional options regarding the ability to possibly waive the landscaping requirement separate from a variance application if the variance application was to be declined. The options that were discussed was, one, see if the variance application would go through. That is why we are here today. The applicant did want the application to move forward. If the application is denied by the Board of Zoning Appeals, the applicant does have the opportunity to request a zone change to Central Business District zoning district, which by nature waives the landscape street yard requirement based on the zoning district that it is. It would also allow for lot line development, which is the purpose of why they want the variances, because they would like to develop up to the property line. And the requirement of the landscape ordinance is requiring them to provide an 8-foot landscaping strip along North Emporia Avenue. Nothing has changed in your staff report. Staff still does not find that all 5 criteria have been met. Unless you guys want me to go through the whole staff report again, since nothing has changed, I think we can probably leave it at that. That's the update, and I can stand for any questions.
Anyone have questions from the commission or staff? Okay. Oh, Commissioner Aldrich.
Just use the hot mic.
I just want to clarify that when we heard this during the planning commission and deferred it, just for everybody to understand, it was basically with the intention to have staff meet with the agent for the applicant, and that was done.
That is correct. We did have a discussion.
Okay, and at that time, the agent was advised of alternatives.
Yes, the alternative would be to have a zone change application to the Central Business District.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for staff?
I will note for the record that because this current application is a variance, if the application were to be denied, there's no time limit on how much time they'd have to wait to submit a zoning application, because there are 2 separate requests. It would be different if this was a zone change. There's not that limitation on the 12-month limitation. They could turn around and submit an application at any time.
Okay. Great, thank you. So at this point, we'll ask the applicant agent to come forward and give us an update since the last request. Please give us your name and address for the record, and you'll have up to 10 minutes.
Okay, my name is Max Christensen. My address is 6519 East Marjorie Street here in Wichita. And I did get a chance to visit with Brad about the alternatives that might be available to us, and the CBD was one that we may well consider if we are denied in our variance. I asked Steve Johns, the owner, to be here today. I actually expected him to bring little bags of candy and nuts, but I apologize, he showed up empty-handed. So in spite of that, I hope there's an opportunity here for us to go forward with this project as is, and we may still consider the zoning change down the line. So if there are no questions, that's all I really have to say.
Sir, is there any change or new information since the last meeting from the staff report and the recommendations that you want to address?
Not really. He just mentioned, their denial of it was something that's almost given, that they don't have a lot of options if everything, the 5 criteria can't be met, that they more or less have to deny it. But in spite of that, when I talked to Philip about it, he seemed to think that, it'll probably get denied, but the board has this final say on it, and it very well could get it through that way. So that's why we're here. Since
Commissioner
we've already
Aldridge.
paid it, might as well get the vote.
Commissioner Aldridge has a question.
Yes.
I just want to make sure that when you met with staff and they gave you the alternative, which to do a CBD request on that you fully understand that you wouldn't have this problem right now if you did that.
I understand that, yeah. Yeah, and probably that's the way we should have gone to start with. Might have saved us some time.
Yes.
I guess I wasn't didn't realize that was an option that they might look favorably on, so.
That was the purpose of requesting that you meet with staff on that, and it would have been better, I think, so.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Any other questions for the applicant? Seeing none, thank you, sir. Stand
Thank
by. Is there any members from the public who would like to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the commission for discussion. Commissioner Bill Johnson.
This is a question of staff. This is zone light industrial.
That is correct. It's limited industrial.
Now, I thought light industrial property was exempt from landscaping.
The only way that it is if both sides of the street are limited industrial zoning and that street is classified as a collector. Emporia is classified as an arterial by ordinance. We double checked with traffic engineering. This is why landscaping is only required on North Emporia and not on Elm. The north side is along Elm, which is a collector. The north side of Elm is also limited industrial zoning, and that's why no landscaping is required on Elm. There is limited industrial zoning on the west side of North Emporia, but because Emporia is an arterial, the landscaping code does apply.
Learn something new every day.
Commissioner Mader.
I have a question loosely related to this, but could be quite important. In a property such as this, if the building's torn down and it's to be used just for parking, we do have a landscape ordinance that would retain. Does that new parking lot, would it be required to put in landscaping? And would it be required to get a permit to be switched to parking? And I'm asking this primarily because on this same ownership, same property on Central Street that happened. We have a building torn down and it turned to parking. And I believe on Central would be required to do landscaping for new construction.
You are correct. Yes, a new parking lot would require parking lot screening and a landscape street yard if it's along an arterial street. I can't speak to what happened on East Central. Perhaps they didn't go through proper channels or just don't know enough information about that, but it should have been required. At this location along Emporia, it would be the same thing because if the building's torn down and they switch it to a parking lot, that's considered a new parking lot and the landscape code comes into effect.
Okay, so based on past experience and past performance, I'm afraid I'm not going to look very favorably at any of these requests.
Any other discussion? Commissioner Joe Johnson.
If I want to make a motion to approve this, I gotta say it meets all 5 criteria,
And
which I would be going totally against the planning department. So I'm not gonna make that. Thank you.
Commissioner Aldrich.
Before that, you make a motion of that, but the thing of it is, it's that the simplest fix on this would, if this is denied, for the agent and the applicant, just to refile. There's not a waiting period. They can refile for the Central Business District, and they don't have to worry about those issues because it would be by right.
I said I wasn't gonna make that motion.
Okay.
Okay, well,
Okay. So I'm not hearing any other discussion as to that the applicant has proven the variance should be waived. With that being said, I make a motion to deny the application. Okay. So we have a motion to, so if you agree with the denial, say aye.
aye.
If you do not agree with the denial, say, yeah, say nay. Okay, so we have 12 to 1. Is that what I counted? Just one nay? Okay. So the request has been denied. You can still file as a central business district with no waiting period. So thank you for your time. With that, we close the BZA agenda and return to the Planning Commission agenda. And the first item is 3.2. 3.3, thank you. I circled the wrong one. And that is the vacation request 2025-40. Hey, Sam.
Good afternoon, Samuel Dietz, presenting planner. Vacation 2025-00040 is a request to vacate an interior 13 feet of a 35-foot setback on the north and west sides of the property, which is located at North Rock Road and 400 feet north of East 37th Street North. The property is zoned LI Limited Industrial, and this vacation request is associated with conditional use CON 2025-00116, which would allow a car wash within 200 feet of SF5 single-family residential. The purpose of the request is to allow for the construction of this car wash. The proposed setback is approximately 22 feet, which is greater than the 20-foot front setback and the 0-foot street side setback, which would otherwise be required by the Unified Zoning Code for the LI district. There are no public utilities in the vacation area. Public Works, Fire, Stormwater, Traffic Engineering do not object, nor have any objections been noted from the franchise utilities. Planning staff has received 2 public comments in opposition to this vacation request due to expected traffic and noise at the location. With that, I'll stand for any questions.
Thank you. Any questions from the commission? Seeing none, thank you, Sam. Is the applicant agent present to speak to this vacation request? Please give us your name and address for the record. And you'll have, I got you, up to 10 minutes.
Good afternoon, Phil Meyer with Baughman Company, agent for the applicant. I guess briefly, these are going to intertwine with the conditional use permit that you're going to hear in a little bit. When we first started this project, we went to the planning staff with the site plan, asking them if kind of preliminarily where planning staff sat with car wash at this location with the conditional use. It was strongly recommended to us at that time that the dryer bays point south. And I'm gonna say it was strongly, but it was also suggested that if we get the vacuum bays and the parking stalls on the east side of the building, that would help. And so that's kind of why we're here with this vacation case. The only way we could achieve that second one of getting the vacuum bays and the parking stalls on the east side of the tunnel car wash was to apply for this vacation case. So with that, I will stop, answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Any questions from the commission? Seeing none, thank you. You might want to stand by. So now we'll open up to public comment. If you want to speak to this vacation request and only the vacation portion of this case, now's your chance to come to the podium. Did you have comments, sir? Yes, sir. Okay, please go to the podium. Give us your name and address for the record. You'll have up to 3 minutes. And again, this is just for the vacation request.
I understand.
Thank
My
you.
name's Richard H. Van Tassel. I live at 4006 Jasmine in the Willow Bend area. I am aware of this now. My position and the position of our homeowners in our development in Willow Bend would be that these setbacks were established when Willow Bend and this area was first laid out. They're there for the long-term integrity development of the area. And for the purpose that they want these for, we would be opposed to that. I'll have further comments relative to the other.
Any questions for the speaker? Seeing none, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next public speaker? Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll close the public rebuttal. Thank you. And open it back up for rebuttal to the applicant. Mr. Meyer, do you have anything you want to add? No? Okay. Thank you. We'll close the rebuttal and bring it back to the commission for discussion. Anything? Commissioner Aldrich.
I'd like to make a motion that we uphold the subdivision's approval of the vacation 2025-00040.
Okay, we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Aldrich with a second by Commissioner Warren. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay.
Nay.
We have one nay, that'd be a 12-1 vote. Thank you. All right, next item is 4.1, which is zone request 2025-39. And it looks like Christine's going to fill in for Brad. Is that right?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you, Chair. Christina Reith here with planning staff here to present Zone 2025-00039. The applicant is requesting a zone change from B multifamily residential and LC limited commercial to OW office warehouse. It's a little bit over an acre in size and it's located on the northwest corner of East 1st Street North and North Ash Street. It's developed with this office warehouse combination for a plumbing contractor. And then a portion of the subject site, as you can see in this aerial, is developed with a multifamily dwelling. So by rezoning this to office warehouse, residential uses would no longer be permitted on site, so the house would either have to be repurposed or demolished or what have you. The applicant is requesting the zone change in order to bring one of the site into one zoning district and also to bring it into conformance with the zoning code. Warehousing is not permitted in the LC district, but it's a permitted use in OW office warehouse. And then there's the existing use of construction sales and service, and that is permitted in the LC district, as long as it's not, or as long as the use is for retail business and not wholesale or business service. So the plumbing contractor indicated that the use would be considered as a business service. So the property development standards would change for the site if the zone change request is approved. There's a table in your staff report outlining those development standards. Compatibility height and setback standards would not apply because the properties that are abutting or across the street are zone B, and compatibility standards apply to structures or properties that are TF3 or more restrictive. There's solid screening across the northern property line of the west side of the property. Solid screening would be required along the east portion of the northern property line because of the residentially zoned properties across. And the subject site would also be required to provide a landscape street yard as well as a landscape buffer to the properties to the north. And then as you can see in the zoning map here, properties to the north are zoned B and developed with single-family dwellings. To the south, we also see B multifamily zoning and single-family residences. And then if we look across Interstate 135, we have property zone central business district. So in this slide here, it's the properties that are in blue, that's central business district. A little bit of case history. The subject site is platted from multiple editions, some from 1970, 1886, and 1885. In 1987, an exception was approved to permit automobile sales. And then in 1987, a variance was granted that reduced the required number of off-street parking. And then a portion of the site was vacated in 2016. And then in the same year, we see a zone change from B to LC, as well as a conditional use for outdoor vehicle and equipment sales. The requested zone change is in partial conformance with the Community Investments Plan, as well as the Wichita Places for People Plan. The Wichita Future Growth Concept Map identifies the area as appropriate for residential. So even though it calls for residential, the majority of the subject site is currently zoned for commercial uses. And the location, when you look at it from East First Street North and Interstate 135, makes the site appropriate for commercial uses. In terms of the land use compatibility guidelines that are part of the plan, there's a design guideline that states except in mixed use development areas, non-residential uses should provide appropriate screening and buffering from residential uses. So this site will be required to provide screening and landscaping in accordance with Section 4A of the Unified Zoning Code, as well as the Wichita Landscape Code accordingly. The requested zone change is in conformance with the goals of the Wichita Places for People Plan. The plan recommends a list of strategies that help guide the community in their actions to create walkable places within Wichita. So the requested zone change is in conformance with Strategy 3, which aims to improve the economic feasibility of commercial and service uses and the markets necessary to support them. Additionally, the request is in conformance with Strategy 6, which encourages infill and redevelopment that is contextual to the environment in which it is occurring. And then when we look at the Central Northeast Area Plan update, the plan calls for retaining and attracting new businesses and jobs. So the existing business is looking to remain at the subject site and by changing the zoning in order to conform to the Unified Zoning Code. Staff is recommending approval of the request based on the golden rules, which are listed in your staff report. And to my latest briefing, I did not receive any public comment on the requested zone change. So let's go ahead to some of the site photos here. This is looking east into the site. Next slide, please. This is looking west into the site. Next slide, please. Also looking west into the site. Next slide, please. This is looking north into the site. Next slide, please. This is looking north away from the site. You can see Interstate 135 in the back. Next slide, please. This is looking east away from the site. Next slide, please. This is looking south away from the site. Next slide, please. This is looking west away from the site. As you can see, Interstate 135. Next slide, please. And that concludes the photos, and with that, I will stand for questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. Do we have any questions from the commission? Commissioner Aldrich.
Christina, just a quick question. The residence that's there, is that presently being occupied?
I do not have information on that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for staff? Seeing none, thank you, Christina.
Thank
We'll now ask the applicant or agent to come forward. And please go to the podium, identify with your name and address, and you'll have up to 10 minutes. And it looks like we're having, are you both together? No. No, okay.
My name's Brandon Witt. I reside in 100 East Park Place Court in Derby. I'm the operations manager for Bowers Plumbing, Heating and Air, and I'm the acting agent of this. As stated, the issues wanting to rezone is obviously to bring in conformity to existing zoning laws, but also just the idea. We moved in 2019, and we've been able to expand and grow and provide further employment, adding on an HVAC division and continuing to to grow. And so this will allow us to continue that and to continue to be able to employ licensed technicians, apprentices, and office support staff, and be able to support the community by doing that. And so with that, I can take any questions that you might have.
Well, first off, congratulations on the success.
Thank you.
Secondly, are you in agreement with the staff recommendation with all their findings?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Aldrich?
Yes, sir. Again, the residence that's there now, is that presently being occupied?
I believe 2 out of 4 of the quadplex is currently occupied.
And does your client owns the property of the residential? Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for the applicant? Seeing none, thank you, sir. Stand by. Now we'll open it up for public comment. Is there anyone in the room that would like to comment on this? Okay. Please give us your name and address for the record. You might want to move that microphone down a little bit. Thank you. And you'll have up to 3 minutes.
I Dora Cook. I live in the 229 North Ash, but I have the 226 too, and I'm very close to the plumbers. And my concern here is because I hear rumors for maybe 2 years about make a parking lot or the chemicals, and I'm very curious because I know some houses in the yard is empty, no people, and apartments most of the times no people. But the next apartment in my yard in my house is people, so I very I like it. Know what happened. What was the real reason why I here? Because it's my first time I come in and for this paper. Thank you.
Ma'am, before you leave the podium, could you use the mouse and the pointer to show us where your house is on the map?
Because I really know. It's close the apartment.
You're in the apartment?
No. It's the apartment one house and my lot 226 and my house 229.
Okay, so you're across the street to the east?
For the plumbers, the ash.
Mr. Wadle, can you help?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, I think in looking at the map, she's at 229 North Ash. That is that is the third house north of the multifamily unit that's part of this.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else in the room? I know we have an online guest. Are you wanting to speak to this item?
If you're online, you will need to unmute your microphone in order to provide comment if you wish.
Let me check with the staff in the back.
Okay.
And for those in the room, we do provide online participation for ADA purposes only. We did get contacted well over a week beforehand to provide the accommodation for ADA purposes.
Yep. So we're working through the technology. We haven't used this in a while, since COVID.
Yes, you got on speaking. Didn't get it. See if you can hear. See if I can hear you.
Okay.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you now. If you could give us your name and address for the record, and you'll have up to 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm. I don't hear nothing. I don't hear anything either. Because I didn't hear him say anything about this.
Ma'am, can you hear us?
I'm trying to find out why they would send me a notice so they're going to come this way.
Sir, just so you know, I've checked with the staff who are
He said, I know we have an
operating.
online guest. Would you like to speak? And I said, yeah, but they never responded.
Can
Not
you hear us?
muted. I don't know why it's not.
Can you hear us now?
No.
I feel like a Verizon commercial.
It could be on their end. It don't have to be no phone. Hello.
Hello? Are you there?
Well, nobody's looking. They all looking, but unless somebody else is talking. You know,
And
this is clear.
so we've
Somebody just
checked
walked up front.
with Brian Thompson and our staff. He's also
Well, I get to
listening
speak
and
on the
he can
6th meeting,
hear
but
us.
so
So we
far,
don't believe that the audio issue is on
it don't
our
sound
end.
like this, Bob. But why would they send us a letter? So I don't know who wanted to come here. But, oh boy.
So is there a way to communicate with her?
I'll tell you what, I will go back and we will try and call, but unfortunately that will take a little bit of time. So,
Okay.
Should I unmute my?
She just
No,
asked
they told me to mute it.
if she can. Well, she's unmuted because we
The
can hear
voice
her.
thing up there.
She just can't hear us.
That don't have nothing to do with it.
We can hear you if you want to go ahead and share with the group.
That's
Yes.
Brian.
Okay.
Thanks,
My
Brian.
name's Marilyn Coffey, and I own a house at 151 North Ash. Would this be included in the rezoning? The rezoning?
No, you're not part of the application
for-
area.
Item 4.1, if you want to have a short public comment on.
What do you want us to know about this
No,
case?
I was trying to comment on item 00039, the Ash, North Ash area.
Yes, that is this item. You can share.
Okay, so my house is located at 151 North Ash, right on the corner. And I was wondering, is my house also subject to be included in this rezoning?
No. You are not part of the application. Your residence is not included.
Ma'am, this is Scott Weedle, the planning director. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, do you see the green outline around the property? It surrounds the Bauer Plumbing, and then it's also the quadplex that's immediately to the north. So
Correct.
only those properties that are included in that green outline are part of this rezoning application.
Oh, okay. Well, I received a letter and everything, so I was just wondering if I was included because I am exactly across First Street. So,
okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
Do you have any other comments that you'd like to share with the Planning Commission? They are listening to you live right now.
No, not at this time.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Any other public comments? Seeing none, Mr. Witt, did you want to have an opportunity to answer the question from the first speaker? Sure. You don't have to, it's up to you. You'll have up to 2 minutes for rebuttal.
I did hear some concern about chemicals. Just for your to alleviate any worries, we don't store large quantities of chemicals, and we're not going to do that on the exterior. So we're going to conform to OSHA standards and everything to keep things safe. We don't store chemicals on our site, and so as far as your safety and health, we're going to follow the law and what is required there. And we want to make it look good too. We're not interested in stacking up a bunch of junk outside. We want to do our due diligence to keep things clean and clear. And then we'll have the buffer fence that will hide a lot of stuff from your site. So thank you.
Thank you. We'll turn it back to the commission for Commissioner Aldrich, or McKay.
I'm sorry, I have a question of the staff. I noticed along, just was not paying that much attention, along the west edge of this, there's Zone B and there's a lot of houses in there, and that's a dedicated cul-de-sac. Are these people allowed to use this as an ingress egress?
Yes, it looks like it's Minnesota Avenue, and they would have the opportunity to come down, and Minnesota dead ends into their property. And that's probably one of their primary access points to their yard and parking lot.
Thank you.
Commissioner Williams-Bey.
Wasn't there a question about parking also? Didn't you have a question about parking?
Which one?
I think there was a question raised on whether or not they were going to create a new parking lot, is what I understood.
And we didn't hear from them. Commissioner McKay.
I'd like to make a motion for approval, subject to staff comments.
Second.
We have a motion to approve from Commissioner McKay with a second by Commissioner Bill Johnson. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Next item, 4.2. Go ahead, Philip. Thank you.
Yes, good afternoon again. Philip Zevenbergen on behalf of Brad Etherly for planning staff. PUD 2517 is coming back to the Planning Commission today after being deferred from the August 28th Planning Commission meeting. It is a zone change request from B multifamily to GC and GC general commercial to planned unit development to create the 944 South Topeka planned unit development, number 149. The subject site has multiple properties, as you can see, mostly bisected by an alleyway with an east and west portion to the site. The total site is 1.18 acres in size and is located 1 block east of South Broadway and 3 blocks south of East Kellogg. The subject site is currently developed with a church that has an education wing and its associated parking lot. There is a current request, vacation 2530, that would request to vacate a portion of the alley in order to unify the property. On August 28th, the MAPC reviewed the case and voted to defer to today's meeting. The case was deferred to allow the applicant opportunity to address concerns by nearby property owners regarding the appearance of having portable storage containers to be used as residential dwellings. 5 members of the public spoke at that MAPC meeting with concerns about having storage containers as dwelling units and parking in nearby streets. As a reminder, the PUD, essentially phase 1 of the PUD, would allow for portable storage unit containers to be placed on this portion of the property, and their intended uses to have dwelling units. The church is a historic property. There is a separate review by the Historic Preservation Board for anything that would affect a historic property. The Wichita Historic Preservation Board did consider this as well at their September meeting and chose to defer their recommendation on it based on the deferral of the zoning case, waiting for more information about the zoning, so they will hear it in October. According to the PUD drawing submitted by the applicant, the site would consist of 2 parcels, parcel 1 and parcel 2. The church is parcel 1, the other site is parcel 2. The existing church would come into compliance with setbacks. It was built when rules were different. It is only 5 feet off of Gilbert Street, and the PUD would allow the setbacks to be where the building is currently at. If the building were to be damaged or destroyed, over 50% of its value would not be able to be rebuilt in its current condition and current place. Parcel 2 is proposed to be developed with multifamily units constructed out of storage containers and an existing surface parking lot. Portable shipping containers may be used as on parcel 2 for the building shell of the residential purposes, provided that the exterior of each structure shall be painted a uniform color. Each structure may have an exterior color unique from other residential structures on the site. The exterior colors of each shall be earth tone colors, and the location is limited to the area illustrated on the PUD drawing, which, as I mentioned, is this location here. Staff recommends that a 6-foot screening fence be required along this property line to screen the portable shipping containers from this house that is not part of the PUD. It's a separately owned property. After the MAPC deferred the case, the applicant's agent provided additional language to incorporate the above provisions for the residential shipping containers. Additionally, the agent added language that solid windowless faces of the shipping container may be used as part of the solid screening fence along the property line shared with 939 South Emporia. That's the site here. Lastly, additional language was added to restrict the number of dwelling units on each parcel. Parcel 1 would be permitted 35 dwelling units, that's the church. And parcel 2 would be permitted a maximum of 22 dwelling units. These revisions are included as an attachment into your staff report. After staff reviewed the information, staff recommends that the shipping containers not be used as part of the required screening. Staff recommends that the 6-foot screening fence be along the property line as a means to help mitigate the visual impact if shipping containers are used for dwelling units. With the understanding that the containers would be stacked 2 levels, staff also recommends that an evergreen landscape buffer be planted along the same property line, in addition to the south property line of parcel 2 along East Gilbert Street. In your packet as an attachment, there is an illustration of possible ideas of what the shipping containers would look like. You can see that there's like siding or wood paneling. That was provided by the applicant. The recommended language that they included with staff did not include information regarding that these portable shipping containers would have to look like that. That is something for your consideration. They provided that to us, but the language that they wanted to move forward with in today's meeting only talked about the earth tone colors and that they be painted a uniform color, and that each one could have a unique color to it. So there was really no change to the color scheme that was presented at the first meeting. Everything else about the application has stayed standard. One thing I also want to point out, based on conversations that happened at the first meeting regarding the 4 requirements for a PUD application, also on page 8 of your staff report, the applicant provided a summary regarding the 4 items of a PUD application because that was called into question at the first meeting. So that is also there for your review as well. With that, I can stand for any questions, as nothing else about the PUD has changed, that we're just kind of focusing on what was new information based on the deferral request, and I can stand for any questions.
Okay, thank you, Phil. Commissioner Williams Bay.
I'm not sure. I heard you, did you say that the drawings that were provided were just for illustration purposes only and not necessarily what the building is going to look like?
When we received additional information from the agent, they did provide these illustrations. However, the text associated with architectural control, for lack of a better term, did not include language that they would have to look like this.
Any other questions from the commission? Seeing none, thank you, Phil. Would ask the applicant agent to come forward. Give us your name and address for the record, and you'll have up to 10 minutes.
Kirk Miller, K.E. Miller Engineering, 117 East Lewis. I'm the agent. We have talked about the way these are going to look, and what we want to do, what we will commit to, is shiplap siding on them, which would be either wood or composite. So it would have a look that doesn't look like a shipping container. It'll basically look like the pictures that you have. That's the goal of this. I have this, if you read, I'm assuming you've all read the criteria where we talk about the reason for the parking not having to have that many is because of the facilities being used mainly for young people that are phasing out of the foster care program, and they probably won't have very many vehicles. They'll probably be catching buses or riding bikes as they go to work in probably a downtown area or go to school at WSU or someplace like that. They can easily get there from here. There are 3 bus lines in the neighborhood that come real close to this. If you have more questions about the program, one of the people involved in the project is here and he can probably answer those. I'd be glad to try to answer any questions you have otherwise.
Thank you, Kirk. Commissioner Aldrich.
Yep, Mr. Miller, on the drawings, if you will, that was submitted, you said you're going to go back with shiplap. Are you looking at doing a similar design that you're showing here with the awnings and the railings and everything else? Yes, we are. Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. The difference may be the number of windows. I'm not sure what they're doing as far as windows. I know there was some discussion about that, but it'll be pretty similar to what's there, yes. Okay, thank you. Mm-hmm.
Commissioner Nix.
Kurt, are there other buildings or other designs such as this that these people have done in Wichita?
Not that I know of. Do you know if they?
Sir, if you're part of the application, you can come up and speak.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll need to give us your name and address and your role in this.
Freddie Hutt, the project manager of the Polite Place project.
And your address, please.
Address 621 South Chautauqua, Wichita, Kansas. I'm sorry, specifically on the question, yes. The group that is together, lots of experience. I can probably put together a portfolio of residential properties that have been rehabbed in addition to some conversions from commercial-based properties downtown into residential.
I wouldn't mean to demean who you are or what you've done. I'm just asking, are there other projects similar to this that you've developed here in Wichita? If not, can you provide us with some developments of similar nature in other communities?
So let me address that a couple ways. One, so project manager, I'm more on the, because we're addressing foster kids that are aging out, foster kid. Part of that program, we have about 41 agencies that are part of an ecosystem here in Wichita addressing that. The project managers and the other owners. I want to say there's development projects, large scale. I know they've done apartment complexes in more than 50 units here in Wichita. I know north of 96. That's one of Attorney Arif. He's actually done those. In addition to, there's several ongoing residential projects, one of which is off of 21st and Oliver right now, directly behind the Dollar General. Which is, low-income housing for student housing, I think is what that project is primarily addressing. Can I give you you want addresses, pictures, like that's?
No, I don't want any of that. I was just hoping maybe we could see some photographs of some projects, similar projects that you have here, using the same kind of materials that you're talking about here.
So addressing the container homes themselves, no.
I think
Sorry.
For container homes.
The question was about using storage
Yeah,
containers.
yeah.
And you haven't done that, have you?
No.
Okay.
We do have pictures we can supply from some other communities. There was 2 out of Arizona. There was also some in California that had specifically for youth aging out of foster care done these. It is incredibly respectful of the communities. They look really nice. They don't look like, some container homes that have just been converted into an apartment. I think I would love an opportunity to probably submit maybe some pictures of one of those. If that's.
I think the question was more, have you actually done those? And the answer is no.
No.
Okay.
Commissioner Joe Johnson, then Mr. Warren, then Mr. Eldridge.
Can I speak to the project?
You used it up with your last.
See what they say.
I just don't think our role as a design review board.
Right.
I mean, we're looking at a zoning issue, and I think we tread on thin ice when we're trying to judge what goes in.
Next in line was Commissioner Warren.
I guess my question is to staff. Kurt answered my hope was that there would be something in writing that would tie down the type of exterior. Are you confident that we can come up with something that would satisfy that, putting it in writing?
You have the opportunity to add,
Sausage
if you feel like, he offered to require shiplap siding on the exterior of the containers, you can add that to the PUD text if that is the will of the board.
We'd have to do it making sausage from the bench here in a form of a motion that would satisfy legal. So, did I see next Commissioner Williams Bay? Did you have your hand up? I'll get to everybody.
Just so I'm clear, this housing is for youth that are phasing out of foster care and not for juveniles.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, I had a big, beautiful speech, but if I might, it's called the Polite Place in honor of Dr. Polite. We work closely with the community, and again, there's about 50 agencies in town, throwing names out there, Youth Rises, like everybody that's involved with the care. We've got a lot of robust support. I would love to sit down and I think we've got some meetings scheduled with Mr. Hoheisel and his group in October for sitting down with the community partners, making sure that everybody fully understands what the project entails. This is going to be a very respectful, beautiful, safe, affordable place, that's providing a much needed, as indicated on every single recent data analytics profile built out for Wichita. This is one of the low-hanging fruits, is addressing roughly 30% of them that are transitioning to homelessness or housing insecurity. We're going to provide, we take FYI vouchers, which is, foster youth independence vouchers, but, just affordable, safe, and it is going to be beautiful, okay? Let there be no question. We're talking about a building that's surrounded by boarded up houses. I know that right now, the neighbors are really upset because, there's a lot of people that are sleeping on the porches and stuff like that. That's been happening. We want to address that, make this into a beautiful place that's going to enrich the community, and I would love buy-in from all the community. Sorry.
We have
Thank you.
several questions on the docket. Commissioner Bill Johnson.
I really don't have a question. We deferred this because of the appearance of it. And now I think we're getting off on a lot of other tangents that wasn't discussed. And I don't think we're doing the applicant justice by getting off base.
We'll swing back around to Commissioner Dool and then come back to, who was over here, Mr. Mader? Okay, and then, gotcha.
Well, I just want to make sure I understand the nature of this. It's basically rental units that are renting to a very specific population. Does the landlord do any more than just rent to these people, or are they supervising the tenants of this, or providing other things other than renting a house, dwelling to them?
Yes, so in the city of Wichita, we've got some peripheral support for foster care housing. Also, we have a model that's similar to a children's home, but in Wichita, especially for this demographic in this area, there's no residential entity that not only gives them affordable housing, that takes in, the consideration is for Section 8 FYI, there's no housing, there's no credit, there's no established anything, so them getting approved for a rental is incredibly problematic. We not only take that, but we give the affordable housing, and then separate from that, we also provide access to programming and getting into like those 52 agencies that support, from employment, having pathways for WSU Tech, having pathways for, just all the things, even traversing how hard or challenging potentially it is to apply for the FYI voucher, which, by the way, you've only got 6 months when you age out to apply for it, and if you miss out, you lose up to 5 years of housing assistance that you could have. So the people that are not supported right now transition directly to homelessness, and maybe they don't even know that this is an opportunity. So we're not programming. We actually bring an ecosystem where there's a programming manager, including myself, that brings an ecosystem where all of these partners can come in. Sorry.
So I'll hand over here to Commissioner Mader.
We've been talking mostly about the modular function. This also includes the church, right? Same kind of housing, same kind of usage inside the church, which has 30-some apartments?
Inside of the school.
In the school part of it.
Yes.
This part right here,
the
not
building,
the,
yes.
not the church part.
Is anything going on inside the church?
That will be in phase 2, I believe. Phase 1 was going to be, it's in the phasing. Second phase, first phase will be the containers. The second phase is renovation inside the church, and then the third phase is making the apartments. So the second phase would be the church building itself. I think there was going to be storage in the basement, that type of thing, new HVAC in it. And then they would move up to this area for more of the apartments inside that existing structure.
Okay. Commissioner Joe Johnson.
Yes, my only wish was that Dr. Polite could have seen the completion of this project. He was a great man.
Commissioner Aldrich.
Yeah, we heard a lot from the residents around the area, regarding the designs, the appearance, what it's going to look like, and stuff. And I'm glad you've gotten away from just doing a paint job on there. So the design standards, that is within our realm. And so I would hope that you would do as similar as what you submitted, to us on that. I think that would really help improve that area quite a bit.
Any other questions from the commission? Seeing none, thank you, gentlemen. Please stand by. Are there any members from the public who would like to speak on this item? Please come to the podium, give us your name and address for the record, and you'll have up to 3 minutes.
Amy Liker, 1002 South Broadway. I'm the resident who spoke with you last time about this applicant failing to follow the special PUD application requirements. I see that they've submitted some of that information this time, but they're still not providing the exact number of dwelling units and the total non-residential square footage by land use type for parcel 1. I think that that's really important, especially the number of dwelling units and the square footage or capacity of what they say will be the church building that they're proposing on that site. I would offer to you that 36 parking spaces is not going to be enough. There is 35 apartments in the building and 22 in the shipping containers. That's a total of 57 apartments. Your zoning code requires 1.25 parking spaces for each efficiency and 1-bedroom apartment in multifamily, and 1.75 parking spaces for each apartment that's 2-bedroom or larger. So at that rate, there should be at least 71 parking spaces just to accommodate the tenants that could potentially be on this property. That does not even take into account anybody who may be attending a church that might be there at some point. Your zoning code says that there is 1 parking space required for each 4 seats of a church. So that would be even more than 71 parking spaces. You and the applicant cannot guarantee that these kids who would potentially be occupying this property will not come with vehicles or will not obtain vehicles at some point during their residency there. You can also not guarantee that this property will not be sold at some point and used for anybody just as part of the general public and all of those people who might also come with vehicles. This applicant cannot be permitted to rely on the on-street parking in our neighborhood. It is already very heavily utilized by current residents, many of whom do not have adequate or any parking at all on their property right now. So we are, and also we're still, residents are still opposed to the appearance of these shipping containers. It's nice that they have provided kind of a mock-up of what they might look like, but we're asking that that kind of stuff actually be written into the plan because we want to guarantee that we're not going to end up with some tin boxes, you know, on this property that will absolutely be an eyesore. You guys have the authority to do that, and you know, we're asking that the information be provided to residents. We were not even provided with information that this was going to be foster care housing for sure. The speech that we heard today is the first that residents have heard of it. So I'll stand for questions if anybody has any. Otherwise, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Ryan, or Ms. Liker. Any questions for the speaker? Seeing none, thank you. Next public speaker.
Good afternoon. My name is Timothy McQuarrie. I live at 1002 South Broadway. I had a planned speech here, but they added a bunch of extra information. And upon reviewing it, it would be great if these shipping containers would be written into look like this, at least make it specific. Still not thrilled with dumping basically, which is a foster care extension into the neighborhood without proper supervision or guarantees that they're going to remain that way. This property could be sold at any point, and then there's suddenly going to be 57 or more apartments with parking and requirements that we're going to have to, as neighbors, deal with this influx of people. And to dump kids coming out of foster care and depending on them to not have the car, the first thing these kids are going to do coming out of foster care is going to want to have a vehicle. I mean, I remember being 18, the first thing I wanted to do is buy a car. And to give them no place to put their vehicle that they buy, or to expect them to park on a street 1, 2, 3 blocks away from where they're living, it's just unrealistic, I think. So as neighbors, we'd love to see something done with this property, but I'm not sure that a PUD in this direction is it. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. McQuarrie? Seeing none, thank you, sir. Next public speaker? Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll ask the applicant agent to come back for rebuttal. You'll have up to 2 minutes.
As we have written in the criteria for PUD 149, we do mention the number of the square footage for residential, all in item number 1. Last meeting, we talked about what we could actually do on this site right now. This area is zoned general commercial, so there's a lot of things that could happen on that site that you probably wouldn't want there. We are actually down zoning it to be just residential type of uses. So we're kind of hindering what can be done with that property that would not be as bad for the neighborhood as some things that could be done there with the GC zoning. As we pointed out, the reason we're doing one of the reasons for the PUD is because of the parking and looking at what the uses are gonna be. If further down the road, if something changes, then people will know what is out there in the way of parking and probably would be rented appropriately based on that, 5, 10 years, 20 years down the road, whatever. But we are committed to doing the shiplap siting, as I said earlier, and that would be part of the PUD.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant? Seeing none, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Bring it back to the commission for next action. So I think we're hearing that the applicant would agree to a number 15 provision of the shipping containers must use shiplap siding in either wood or composite as illustrated by their submission. Would that be good enough to include, to satisfy that from staff and legal as an addendum to the provision?
Sir, from my opinion, I think that is enforceable.
Okay.
That would be fine.
Okay.
I'd make a motion approved based on that.
So any other questions? Because we have a motion on the table to include a 15 item that I read, and I think staff has it encapsulated. Everybody heard it? Everybody understand it?
I'd second that.
And we have a second. So all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. So we have a 12 to 1. Motion passes. Thank you. Next item, which is 4.3.
Good afternoon, Planning Commission. Philip Zievenbergen with planning staff. Item 4.3 is a conditional use 2025-107. The request is to renew conditional use 2010-00025. That conditional use was approved in order to expand and allow a construction and demolition landfill related to a tree service operation. The property is located essentially south of West 47th Street, about a half a mile east of South Hoover Road. The property is zoned limited industrial. And in 2010, a conditional use was approved in order to expand a construction and demolition landfill use to a broader portion of the property. So there's some case history where originally a smaller area of the site was rezoned to limited industrial, in addition to general office where the house is, and the zone change included a protective overlay number 57, which had conditions which restricted all of the uses back to single-family SF20, in addition to a tree service business with associated outdoor wood storage, splitting and chopping, and the sale of wood products as customarily found with a tree service business, or other similar low-traffic and low sewage generating uses that may be approved by the Director of Planning, but not including any landfill operations or any storage baling as prohibited by Section 3D6DD. It permitted uses in the general office district within that area that you can see here. That's essentially the house in order to be the office use for the tree service business. And then outdoor storage of combustible materials to comply with the 1994 Uniform Fire Code as adopted by the Sedgwick County Fire Department. In 2010, a zone change and conditional use was approved to expand the limited industrial zoning and expand the tree service business to an additional acreage, and he essentially replaced protective overlay 57 as the conditional use applies to the entire area that is zoned limited industrial. There's a list of 19 conditions in your staff report. The ones that are on pages 2 and 3 were the original conditions approved in the 2010 conditional use. When it comes to the uses, it essentially mirrors that of what was in protective overlay 57 that I just read. There's a significant number of additional conditions regarding where things can be stored, requirements of providing notification of certain types of fuels or other materials need to be stored, conformance to a site plan, and things of that nature. I'll let you guys read those. The applicant is requesting that these conditions just all be renewed. One of the conditions allowed the use to happen for 15 years. If you guys can do the math, that actually expired in August of 2025, so just last month. So they're actually looking to renew it a month after it's been expired for an additional 15 years. They are willing to have that time limit put on there. At the point of 15 years, as this is approved, it would require an additional amendment, additional public hearing process in order to continue the use any farther. When staff reviewed the conditions of approval from the 2010 case, we identified 2 of them that needed modification just simply because of where we're at now. Item number 6 talked about a revised site plan designating areas and distance requirements. That was met when the 2010 case was approved and they submitted a site plan which was approved. The applicant is using the same site plan. They're not wanting to change anything. It designates where the burning area would be, where storage can be, things like that. So staff is recommending that item number 6 be updated, that it's just in conformance with an approved site plan. Because based on our review, there's it's not necessary to revise the existing site plan. Item number 18 talks about that if approved, the conditions of PO 57 would be rescinded, pertaining only to the property in the zone change of LI. Staff wants to note that essentially this happened when conditional use in 2010 was approved, and that condition does not need to be part of this conditional use application because it was satisfied back in 2010. Just a note that item number 4, I didn't put a red sticky note on there from a staff note, but we did update the language to say the Sedgwick County Nuisance Abatement Code as opposed to the Sedgwick County Nuisance Code. Just a minor update to what the existing code is actually called. If you want to go to the future growth map, please. The community investments plan identifies the area to be appropriate for agricultural or vacant. This is defined as areas that are undeveloped or used for agricultural production. Agricultural land is an important natural resource. Pockets of low-density residential uses without the full range of municipal services likely will be developed in areas of the urban fringe that are primarily or used for agricultural. The description supports a limited future development in the area, which would limit possible future development of as residential might possibly try to encroach. Regarding locational guidelines, a rural area development pattern locational guideline states that outside the 2035 urban growth areas, commercial industrial development should be limited to the following: agricultural oriented uses, rural home occupations, natural resource dependent, convenience services and interchange areas, and uses that need significant buffering from residential areas to mitigate nuisance and hazard impacts. The type of use associated with this conditional use could have nuisance impacts due to outdoor storage of material and burning of tree waste. The surrounding area has limited existing development, which will minimize the impact of possible nuisance. If you go back to the aerial image real quick, I just want to give you guys a picture of what the surrounding development looks like. As you can see, this butts up against the MS Mitchell floodway. This boundary of the property is a levee. This boundary down here is also a levee. The railroad track is elevated, essentially a levee. You actually, when you go on 47th Street, you go up a hill to get over the railroad track and then back down, essentially inside of a bowl. There's one additional property that has a residence on it as a neighbor. It's not owned by the same person. So essentially they have one neighbor. The properties around it are agricultural land. This property up here has been platted and is undeveloped. That happened since the conditional use in 2010, but this is the nearest development. The nearest house is the neighboring house, which from the burn area down here is at least 850 to 1,000 feet away from where the burn area is identified on the site plan. So when it comes to being isolated and away from future development, you really kind of can't get more isolated than being inside of a bowl that is bordered by levees and an elevated rail line. Additionally, a general land use compatibility locational guideline states industrial and major commercial land that uses that generate pollution, odor, noise, light, safety hazards, and high levels of traffic should be located away from residential areas and develop with screening, buffering, and site design features sufficient to mitigate adverse impacts. The site is located generally away from residential uses. It is buffered from most properties by an elevated railroad, which is lined with mature trees and levees. The conditions of approval require conditions of the UZC to be met. This requires screening along shared property lines with the SF20 property to the southeast. The conditions of approval also have other provisions designed to mitigate possible negative impacts. When we're thinking about burning and prevailing winds, we're talking about south or southwesterly winds, which would actually blow predominantly this smoke away from the residential area that's nearest and over into more of an industrial area. Essentially, by the time you get farther away, it's going to, dissipate once you get into the residential areas on the other side of the ditch. Overall, staff is recommending approval subject to the revised conditions, and I mentioned those before, of modifying item number 6 and eliminating what was the original item number 18, which stated that it would replace PO 57 because that already happened. I have not heard any public comment regarding this application for or against it. We can go to the site pictures. Actually, let's go to the site plan real quick. We'll just discuss that for a second. This is the original site plan that was approved for the 2010, and again, the applicant resubmitted this site plan because they don't wish to change it. You have the house up here, which is the office. You can have some accessory storage in this area. There's no storage in this area with a platted floodway. You have the primary burn area, tree burning area down here. You have an area down here that's allowed for primary metals, tire, and non-combustible storage. And then overflow tree waste storage area can be in here. This measurement here is 811 feet from this house to the property line, and you can imagine there's even additional probably 300 to 400 feet to where the burn area is. And a lot of that came out of the 2010 case to make sure there was certain distance requirements, knowing that this property is going to be the most affected by the application. You can see that along the Union Pacific Railroad, it was that at the time. I think it's now changed, doesn't really matter. There are mature trees, and you'll see those in the site photos as well. Okay, we can go to the site photos, please. This is standing on 47/the driveway looking at the house. The remainder of the property, as you can see, goes back to the southwest of that. Next picture, please. This is essentially an access drive continuation of West 47th Street towards the other property. This is property as it goes back. This is the levee along the floodway. Next picture. This is looking north at the levee along the Mitch Mitchell floodway. Next picture. I'm standing on top of the levee on this one, looking into the site so you can get a picture of what the expanse of the site would look like. You can see they likely occupied this lot prior to the expiration of the conditional use in August, but their tree service vehicles being parked in this area. You can see in the very southwest corner where the burn area is the remnants of a fire that was there. So they've been already adhering to burning in the appropriate area. And then the open space in between them where they could have additional tree storage as it comes along. Next picture. This is slightly looking more to the south. This is the property that is next door. The burn area would be over here. And so this is essentially the best picture I could get without getting on private property of the adjacent property to the southeast. Next picture. This is on 47th Street as it's crossing the railroad track. This is the house on the property that can be used for the office. This is the elevated railroad track that you can see and the mature trees that are on either side of the railroad track, which significantly block visibility between the agricultural field to the west and the property itself. Next picture. And I can stand for any questions.
Thank you, Philip. Commissioner Aldrich.
Yeah, Philip, I got a couple of questions. One, the proposed use that's given on the staff report is construction and demolition landfill related to tree service. So that's only going to be for tree service. It's not going to be opening up for a whole CDC type landfill, is it?
Correct. The uses permitted are those in SF20 single-family residential and a tree service business with associated outdoor wood storage, splitting and chopping, and the sale of wood products as customarily found in a tree service business. Storage, baling of accessory materials collected as part of the tree service business may be stored on site but shall be periodically removed when the amount of material reaches 100 cubic yards or at least annually, whichever comes first, or removed to an appropriate transfer facility or landfill facility. These uses shall be stored on the gravel or hard surface areas and shall not be stored or located on an unplatted tract except with the area identified in the non-combustible storage area to the west of the primary tree burning area, or stored or located 100 feet to the east or 500 feet to the south property line of the platted tract. No actual landfill activities or burning of any waste materials or including any activities that would require permitting by KDHE or the Sedgwick County Environmental Resources shall be permitted on the site.
Okay, and then also on the listed, was it 14, 15 items that are listed, item number 8 and item number 9 on page 3 of the staff report, it says no scrap vehicles, scrap metal appliances waiting to be processed shall be visible from the ground level, view from any public right-of-way or abutting properties. So why is 8 and 9 in there?
Those activities don't necessarily are associated with a landfill. You could store those. I could see the question of how does that relate to a tree service? If the commission feels that this, we'll let the applicant talk about it too, but if they feel that this is unnecessary to allow it, you could actually remove that condition if you feel that is not appropriate.
Okay, yeah, we're just wanting to make sure that that doesn't get hidden in there where it winds up being
Sure.
allowed. And I think the last thing I had, the rail line that's running in there, is that now K&O's line?
I believe it's a K&O, you're correct. Yeah, Kansas and Oklahoma Railroad.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the commission? Seeing none, thank you, Philip. Well, I'll ask the applicant agent to come forward, give us your name and address for the record, and you'll have up to 10 minutes.
Thank you, Commissioners. My name is Joshua Albin, 1635 North Waterfront Parkway, Suite 200, Wichita, Kansas, agent for the applicant. I don't have a lot of comments here. The staff report was very thorough, and as this is pointed out, that this has been a tree service area since 1999, and that the landfill burning and wood chipping progress of this has been around since 2010. All we are asking to do is continue a service that has been harmoniously in this particular area for the last 15 years, and we hope to continue for another 15 and beyond. As you can see, most of the natural land features within this, especially along the Mitchell Ditch, as well as the 8 feet plus elevation of the railroad tracks, give natural barriers to segregate us and to shade us away from any type of abatement or nuisance issues, as well as natural shading from mature trees throughout the property to show any type of things. To answer Commissioner Aldridge's question, this isn't going to be a landfill as for scrap metal or anything like that. These are tree service products that will be used for chopping, mulching, and selling of tree mulch, burning excess off, and for any excess things that happen within that production within itself. This is Wichita Tree Service. I believe it was Superior and then Alfred's prior before that that owned this property. The continuation of this property was the main purchase thought and the essence behind this whole application. We are in complete agreement with the continuing conditions that are put upon us, and will comply with anything the commission has. And with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for the applicant? Commissioner Aldrich?
Sir, do you support all the staff's recommendations and comments?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Seeing no other questions, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Now I'll open up for the public. Are there any public comments? Please come to the podium, give us your name and address for the record, and you'll have up to 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, Kelly Dixon, 2016 East 50th Street South. Appreciate this opportunity. It's kind of unique that I would be here today as a citizen, but also formally recently retired from Sedgwick County as a zoning enforcement officer, who went toe-to-toe with the applicant for a while, but I am here today in support of this application. As an enforcement officer, you know, we try to help folks get out of bad situations. When this property was discussed, I recommended that they go to this location on behalf of Sedgwick County. I was involved in the original zoning, not the 99 zoning, but the 2010 zoning. From that time to present, we've had, as Sedgwick County received no complaints from anyone in the area for either company, the previous one or currently. And so I just wanted to take this opportunity to scare Mr. Phillips by walking up here. But I do wish that you would let them continue this. I think it's an ideal location. It is perfectly suited for what they're wanting to do. Thank you.
Mr. Dixon, congratulations on your retirement.
Thank you.
And you are welcome here anytime.
Appreciate it.
Any questions for Mr. Dixon? Seeing none, thank you, sir. Next public speaker? Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll close the public portion of the public speaking. Mr. Albin, do you have any rebuttal, or are you good with the comments? All right, good, thank you. We'll bring it back to the commission for discussion and action. Mr. Aldrich.
I have one quick question for staff. On the original PO 57, it says outside storage and combustible materials should comply with the 1994 Uniform Fire Code. So approval of this, that would bring them up to date with the current fire code, correct?
I'm gonna look to legal on that one.
If I could, maybe what we could do is say, with the fire code as adopted by the Sedgwick County Fire Department, that way it's whatever version is currently adopted.
That would be the best language to correct that with the current fire code.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I move for approval with the attached recommendations.
Second.
So would that be with the additional language of being with the fire code
Yes, sir.
as recommended by legal? Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Joe Johnson and a second by Commissioner Williams Bay. I see discussion point. Commissioner Aldrich.
Can I offer a friendly revision to exclude item number 8 and item number 9 on the staff report?
Would you agree with that, applicant?
Yeah, what this does is no scrap vehicles, metal appliances shall be, that language, and also all storage of all scrap vehicles, metals, appliances, and so forth. It eliminates the reference to any steel, scrap, metal out of there. There's no need for it to be in there.
I'll accept that friendly amendment.
Hold on a second, Mr. Wadle.
If I could, sir, I just wanted to note for the record on the recording that the applicant's agent did indicate that they were affirmative and supportive of that change so long as it doesn't in any way inhibit or hinder what they're attempting to do with the property.
And I will just like to add that, would that also include removing number 15? Because it also talks about obtain and maintain permits for the operation of the storage of scrap metal waiting to be processed and storage of the scrap metal bales.
Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't see that.
It's all good. So would the original motion be friendly amendment to include 15 as well?
Yes.
Okay. So the amendment, or and I still is good with second. So
Agreed.
the motion was to adopt the findings minus 8, 9, and 15, subject to the current fire code, right? We're all in agreement? Commissioner Warren? You're good. 9 and 15. And those speak to the storage of scrap metal. Okay. And is the applicant still good with removing 15 as well? Since it relates to 8 and 9? Yeah, okay. So the applicant confirms that they're good with 8, 9, and 15 being removed. Okay, so now, ready for a vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you and congrats from this portion of the body. All right. Still got one more step there. What do we want now? Number 4.5? Yep. All right, Christina.
All right. Christina Reith with planning staff here to present Con 2025-00113. The applicant is requesting a conditional use to allow vehicle and equipment sales outdoor on property zoned LC Limited Commercial District. This is a 1/4 of an acre in size, located on the southeast corner of South Broadway and East Kincaid Street. It's currently developed with a vacant building previously used for automotive repair. So vehicle and equipment sales are subject to supplementary use regulations in the Unified Zoning Code, specifically Section 3D6X. If approved, the applicant shall comply with these regulations. These regulations talk about how it must be located on a major street, must be lit and screened properly, paved, must comply with noise regulations, cannot provide outside repair work, prohibits various signs, and as well as elevated platforms. So I went to the site to take pictures, and it is on a major street, and so the applicant either meets most of these requirements or shall comply if the conditional use is approved. And I do have a list of these regulations attached at the end of the staff report. The site plan, it shows the applicant intending to utilize the existing 2,700 square foot building as the office. The site plan also shows a total of 18 parking spaces in the front and side of the building, plus additional parking in the rear that is accessed via an alleyway. The applicant did not specify how many of these parking spaces would be in the rear section, but I just looked through some aerial photography and it shows about 5 additional spaces. So the Unified Zoning Code requires 1 parking space per 500 square feet of building floor area, plus 2 spaces for the first 10,000 square feet of lot area used for sales and storage purposes, and then 1 space per 10,000 square feet of lot area used for sales, display, or storage purposes. So in conclusion, that is all to say that the site meets the minimum parking requirements. The applicant, if the conditional use request is approved, would be required to improve the existing screening along the alleyway that abuts a residential zoning. So the character of the neighborhood is commercial along the arterial street and residential on the local streets. There are no zoning cases associated with this property. And in terms of the conformance to plans and policies, the requested conditional use is in conformance with the Community Investments Plan. The Wichita Future Growth Concept Map identifies the site to be appropriate for commercial uses. Additionally, the plan has locational guidelines that provide a decision-making framework regarding land use changes. And then the general land use compatibility guidelines state that primary outdoor sales should be located along highway corridors or in areas where the uses have already been established. So I just did a Google map search and it appears that at least 8 car lots exist within 1 mile of the subject site on the same street. However, it is not in conformance with the Wichita Places for People plan, which encourages
a place that provides movement of people on foot, on bike, and through transit in balance with automobiles in the established central area. Strategy 6 aims to encourage infill and redevelopment that is contextual to the environment in which it is occurring. And so it is staff's opinion that the anticipated redevelopment, it is in conjunction with a gas station, and it may continue predominantly automobile-oriented street and may not balance that, or it may not encourage a balance of transportation nodes. And additionally, the requested conditional use is not in conformance with the South Central Neighborhood Plan. It identifies motels, bars, used car lots, and resources processing industries as some of the least desirable land uses in the area. Staff is recommending denial of the conditional use request based on the golden rules listed in your staff report. And I have not received any public comment on the matter, but should the MEPC approve the conditional use request, staff recommends adopting alternative findings and approve of the conditions listed in your staff report. So let's go to some of the site photos here. This is looking east towards the site. This is from South Broadway. Next slide, please. This is looking south towards the site. So I will mention that this building here is not a part of the application. This is owned by a different applicant, so we're focusing on this part here. So let's go to the next slide. This is looking north away from the site towards the gas station that I mentioned earlier. Next slide, please. This is looking west away from the site across South Broadway. Next slide, please. I believe that concludes my site photos, and with that, I will stand for any questions. Thank you.
Christina, how long has the building been vacant?
I'm not sure of that information. I know that the building has been standing there since the 50s, but that's all I'm aware of. So I'm sure the applicant will be able to answer that.
Thank you. Any other questions for staff? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll now ask the applicant agent to come forward. Give us your name and address for the record, and you'll have up to 10 minutes.
Hi, my name is Luis Reyes. I am the owner of this place. My address is 1948 South Emporia. I don't know about this building. I just bought it like 2 years ago, and I was working hard on this building. I built the front fence, and on the back parking, there was full of trees, and I had like 2 years working on this place. So that's the only reason I tried to move my license here, because I have another place I'm renting, and that's why I buy this place.
Okay. Anything else you want to add?
No,
Okay.
just let you know, I'm working hard for this place.
I appreciate that. So the staff is recommending denial, but they did have alternative findings if we agree with some subject to conditions. Have you reviewed those conditions and you would be in agreement with those?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I just need to move my license there, I'm paying rent in 2 places.
And it's currently vacant right now?
I'm working on this place.
But there was no business operating in there? Okay.
No.
All right.
I move some cars, that's the way, people, they don't come to get into the place.
Any other questions for the applicant? Seeing none, thank you, sir, and stand by.
Thank you.
Is there any members from the public who would like to speak on this case? Seeing none, we'll close the public comment period and bring it back to the commission for discussion and action. Commissioner Warren.
Look at the photos and I'm hard pressed to think of another business that would fit in there. I'm not sure in terms of findings of fact, what's the requirements?
If you were going to make a motion for approval, you would need to identify at least 1 or 2 findings, maybe compatibility with the neighborhood, suitability for which it not having detrimental impacts, improvement for the general welfare.
I agree with all of those.
Sure.
If I could, sir, I think what you've being in agreement with all of those that you, so I guess what I take away from that is that you've indicated that you don't feel that removal of the restrictions will detrimentally affect nearby properties because of the configuration of the building and the way that it's situated. Likewise, I think that you've indicated that because the building has been vacant and it is particularly this configuration that is very well suited for this proposed use.
If that's enough, I'll go with a motion to that, to include those issues.
And I would be happy to second that motion because seeing another vacant building on Broadway is not helping the neighborhood at all. And with this building being situated and built the way it is, it makes the most sense for that. So we have a motion and a second.
I would third that.
You third that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Next item, 4.6.
Christina Reith again with planning staff here to present CON 2025-00116. The applicant is requesting a conditional use to permit a car wash on property zoned limited industrial, along with a supplementary use regulation waiver specifically found in Unified Zoning Code as Section 3D6F2. This 1 acre property is located on the east side of North Rock Road within 300 feet of East 37th Street North, as you can see in the aerial map here. A car wash is a permitted use in the limited industrial district. However, when it is within 200 feet of a residential zoning district, that is where the conditional use is triggered. So the subject site is approximately 100 feet southeast of SF5 single-family residential district zoning. So if you look at this map here, everything that you see in white is zoned single-family. Should the request be approved, they would be required to comply with the supplementary use regulations that are listed in your staff report. However, like I said earlier, they're requesting a waiver of number 2, which is all buildings shall be set back at least 35 feet from our arterials, expressways, or freeways. So in this case, the new setback, once the vacation request is, if it is approved by City Council, there would be a 25-foot setback as opposed to a 35-foot setback. Staff is in support of this request because it would be actually beneficial, once we look at the site plan, to have the vacuum bays on the east side of the property and buffered by the building rather than on the west side and not be buffered. So the site plan shows that the patrons would enter the site from East Thorn Street onto the northern portion of the lot. The exit of the car wash, including the blowers, faces the southern portion away from residential districts. Vacuum bays are located on the east side of the property behind the car wash. So noise generating activities are farther away from the nearby residential uses. The character of the neighborhood is mostly commercial in nature, with single-family residential development to the northwest across Rock Road. There are no other zoning cases associated with this property. And when we look at the conformance to plans and policies, the requested zoning is in conformance with the Community Investments Plan. The Wichita Future Growth Concept Map identifies the site as appropriate for residential and employment mix uses. So that's areas of land that will likely be developed or redeveloped by 2035 with uses predominantly of a mixed nature. When we look at the comprehensive plan's land use compatibility guidelines, the development pattern states that small neighborhood serving retail office uses and high density residential uses not located at an arterial section should be limited to the intersection of an arterial and a collector street. So this is, so East Thorn is actually classified as a local street. However, this local street, it serves other LI zone properties as well as a general office zone property and no residential properties on that east side of North Rock Road. Staff is recommending approval of the conditional use request and the waiver of the supplementary use regulation 3D6F2, subject to the conditions listed in your staff report. And this recommendation is based on the golden factors, which are again listed in your staff report. Staff At the time the staff report was prepared, staff did not receive any comments regarding the conditional use. Although I'm not the one who wrote the report, I received a phone call from a member, from a resident of the Willow Bend neighborhood. He's not able to make this meeting today, but he is in opposition to the conditional use request. So let's go to some of the site photos here. This is looking south into the site. Next slide, please. This is looking north into the site. Next slide, please. This is looking north away from the site. Next slide, please. This is looking east away from the site. Next slide, please. This is looking south away from the site. Next slide, please. This is looking west away from the site. Next slide, please. And that concludes the site photos, and with that, I will stand for questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. Good job. Any questions from the commission? Commissioner Williams Bay.
Christina, the dryer, I'm sorry, the blowers, I'm sorry, vacuums will be facing the new hotel that's just been constructed out there?
Yes, because they will be they're going to be situated east from the site, but the blowers will be facing south. Or are you referring to the vacuum bays or the blowers? I'm sorry.
Vacuum bays.
The vacuum bays, they're situated east towards the hotel, correct?
Okay. Is there any kind of landscaping or fencing between the two?
Not to my knowledge, just because if we could go to the zoning map, please.
Because what it's adjacent to.
Yeah, so the adjacent property is zoned limited industrial, so.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you, Christina. We'll ask the applicant agent to come forward. Give us your name and address for the record, and you'll have up to 10 minutes.
Afternoon, Phil Meyer with Boffman Company, agent for the applicant. 315 Ellis is our address. I think I'm going to be brief today, quick and efficient as I can. So setbacks, we did ask for a vacation of setbacks. We are asking for a reduction in the setbacks that's in the supplemental use regulations, which is number 2. To the 22 foot rather than 35. I would point out to the planning commission that 35 foot was, in my opinion, was really set up for more of the car wash where you pull in and you need to queue some cars and you're spraying your car wash off, not this tunnel. And to be able to get the vacuum bays away from the neighborhood and moved to the east side of the site is more valuable with the overall development. If I could have the zoning map come back up, which is page 10 on your staff report earlier. I know everybody knows this, but I want to point out this property is zoned industrial now. The hotel to the east is zoned industrial. There's a lot of uses that could occur on this property that this car wash would be a better fit for the neighborhood. We do have commercial zoning directly across the street from us. We do have a little triangle reserve here. That's the landscape buffer for the houses that are here, and we feel like we've done the best we can to protect the rear of those houses with the site layout the way we've done. With that, I will stop and answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Commissioner Warren.
They'll show me on their layout of the car wash, where the entrance is and where the exit would be.
Yep, I do have a site plan. That's going to be page 8. If they could put page 8 up.
There you go, Phil.
There we go. Okay. So north is to this direction. You would pull in here, you would come around, you'd hit the ticket here, you'd pull in, you would drive south. The dryers for the car wash when you exit would be at this location as you go to the drive by the Quick Trip. And if you want to vacuum your car, you can come in here and do that at that point, or you can do it first. But site circulation will be queuing here, ticket, drive through, exit south.
Commissioner Williams Bay.
So you're exiting onto the drive that Quick Trip uses?
Yes, there's a joint access easement on that drive for both parcels.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Joe Johnson.
Did you not receive any questions from the hotel owner?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Commissioner Aldrich.
Yeah, Phil, you good with all the rest of the staff recommendations and comments?
Yes, yes, we are.
Okay, thank you.
I see no more questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Please stand by. Now we'll open up for public discussion. Anyone from the public, go to the podium. Please give us your name and address for the record, and you'll have up to 3 minutes.
My name's Richard H. Van Tassel. I live at 4006 Jasmine. I'm the past, current, and present president of the Willow Bend Homeowners Association, and I also own a house in Willow Bend. This requested car wash on this property, in our opinion, really doesn't contribute to the type of legacy property that we should have developed in this area. It's a long-established residential area. That Rock Road corridor has a look to it, and it has tremendous traffic flow. Once such a facility is built, it remains for decades. The increased noise from vacuums, blowers, the lighting from lot lights and building lights, the increased traffic flow for entry and exit off to Rock Road from Thorn Drive, or people stopping off of Rock Road to pull into this facility, would result from the applicant's car wash, and it would negatively impact the neighborhood, residential area, and the newly built extended stay hotel. For many years, this uncontrolled traffic flow at Thorn Drive onto Rock Road would only increase with this facility. And as the former Rent-A-Center buildings continue to fill up again, there will be more occupant activity as people enter and exit to work at those buildings. The operating hours for this facility would contribute to a diminished peaceful outdoor enjoyment of neighborhood residential backyards in the properties closest to this facility during the spring, fall, and summer months due to the noise, lights, and the visual impact. As it's been noted, the setback requirement was established a long time ago. In my opinion, and the opinion of the vast majority of the residents in Willow Bend, those setbacks are very important. It's easy to change them. Once you change them, things change. The notice we received on this property and this project was minimal. I think it did go to a few homeowners that were closely associated with this. To be honest with you, I found out about it by a homeowner driving into my driveway and wanting to know what I knew about this car wash. That caused me to do some research. So I'm here to say we're opposed to this, and this isn't the type of facility we would expect to be developed along this corridor. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Van Tassel? Seeing none, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next speaker. Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll ask the applicant agent to rebuttal. You'll have up to 2 minutes.
So some information, I guess, for planning commissioners. The redevelopment of the old Rent-A-Center or the Thorn buildings is the landowner of this parcel. And they owned all of these vacant lots here. We also did the zoning here, which we turned into office for them. So this car wash fits, they felt comfortable with that and their master plan of what they're doing on the redevelopment of this site. They didn't have any issue with it next to the hotel. They're also gonna do some multifamily stuff over here in the future. I simply go back to planning commission, and we talk about legacy projects that could be built here, but at the same time, this is industrial zoned property. And the traffic can be heavier with other uses that's gonna go on there with the car wash with that intense zoning. I don't think that's gonna negatively impact the community, so. I know everybody's tired of car washes. I've heard that from planning commissioners and this community and others, but there is still a market for them, and this is the type of location that they look for. With that, I'm gonna stop and answer any questions you may have.
Commissioner Warren.
What are the hours? Have they laid out what they're looking at?
You know, I don't know that I can answer that. I will tell you, most of the car washes that I see operate from 8 to 8. And I don't see this any different because they have to staff it. And they don't want to pay somebody there except during the peak hours of when they're washing cars. So in my opinion, most of them run 8 to 8. And I think that would generally be the hours.
Any more questions? Saying none, thank you. You have a question? No. Bring it back to the commission for discussion and action. Commissioner McKay.
I'd like to make a motion to approve subject to staff comments.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to approve by Commissioner McKay and a second by, I heard it's multiple. I'll say Mr. Johnson since it's in your neck of the woods. Commissioner Joe Johnson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
We had how many nays? Just one? Mr. Williams, were you a nay? Just the one nay, so 12-1. Next item, please.
Good afternoon. PUD 2025-00019. The applicant is requesting a zone change from manufactured housing to planned unit development to create the Park Village Planned Unit Development, or PUD number 150. This is 73.8 acres in size, located on the east side of South Greenwich Road between East Douglas Avenue and East Waterman Street. The subject site is currently developed with a manufactured home park. The applicant is requesting this zone change in order to allow manufactured homes in conjunction with a recreational vehicle campground. So the proposed RV campground would be integrated into the existing community and would utilize the current infrastructure on site. So the uses permitted by right would be those allowed within MH zoning, which includes a manufactured home park, and then in addition to an RV campground. So there wouldn't be any spaces for camping or for tents. The PUD would also require uses that are normally permitted with a conditional use in MH zoning to be only allowed with a PUD amendment. So those would include accessory apartments, assisted living, daycares, neighborhood swimming pools, and ancillary parking areas. The site would also remain subject to the development standards for manufactured housing zoning. But however, staff recommends additional provisions to the planned unit development that address lighting, parking, and signage, and that they default to the language set forth in Unified Zoning Code. The applicant has requested that in lieu of meeting the screening standards set forth in Section 4B of the Zoning Code, that they modify the setback standards for RV campground and limit the amount of space utilized for RV campground. Staff is in agreement with that request. So that would be a minimum 120-foot setback for RV campground adjacent to single or two-family residential uses, not zoning, but uses. And RV campground shall be limited to 50% of the PUD's area. Staff also recommends that the applicant follow the lighting standards outlined in Section 4B4 of the Unified Zoning Code. Since the subject site is adjacent to a residential zoning district, lighting sources shall be limited to 15 feet in height within 200 feet of residential zoning. The applicant did not specify provisions for signage on site. However, staff is recommending that the signage shall be per the manufactured home district. And on the Wichita sign code, they still haven't updated the letter for manufactured homes, so that would be under G if you look at the Wichita sign code. So in the manufactured housing district, All structures within a manufactured home park, whether permanent or temporary, would be set back at least 25 feet from the public streets rights-of-way, at least 20 feet from all other lot lines, and at least 5 feet from interior private roadways. The character of the neighborhood is commercial and industrial near the arterial street, and once you get away from the arterial street, you see more residential uses. There are no zoning cases associated with this property. And the site has access to South Greenwich, East Douglas, and East Waterman Street. South Greenwich is a 5-lane arterial street with a designated turn lane and a sidewalk on the east side, while East Douglas and East Waterman are 2-way local streets with no sidewalks. The requested zone change is in partial conformance with the community investments plans, namely the 2035 Wichita Future Growth Concept Map. It identifies the area to be appropriate for residential, and new employment uses. And I've provided those definitions per the plan within the staff report. The plan's locational guidelines, they state that manufactured home parks should be located on large tracts and buffered from lower density residential areas by physical barriers. So we're saying it's in partial conformance because, they would be required to screen, but, we're working with the applicant to do some modifications on that. And it's not really a large physical barrier as those described in the plan. Staff is recommending approval of the application, subject to the conditions listed in your staff report. And this recommendation is based on the golden rules. I did receive some additional comments from the public. I sent those to you via email yesterday. It was just one gentleman, or I should say it was one gentleman with photographs. So with that, let's go to the site photos, please. This is looking east towards the site from South Greenwich. Next slide, please. This is looking south towards the site from East Douglas Avenue. Next slide, please. This is looking south again towards the site, just a little bit further down, or a little bit further east, down East Douglas. Next slide, please. This is looking north towards the site from East Waterman Street. Next slide, please. This is looking north again, just further east, down East Waterman Street. Next slide, please. This is looking north away from the site. Next slide, please. This is looking north away from the site again, seeing more single-family residential uses. Next slide, please. This is looking south away from the site. Next slide, please. This is also looking south away from the site. This is an LC zoned property. Next slide, please. This is looking west away from the site across South Greenwich. We can see parts of the manufacturing and airport. Next slide, please. And that concludes my site photos, and with that, I will stand for questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. Any questions from Commissioner Joe Johnson?
Yes. The manufactured housing are on permanent foundations, right?
I do not believe so. Could we go back to some of the site photos, please?
I believe in the MH zoning, it allows them to be skirted around their chassis, and that is the purpose of the MH zoning, was to accommodate manufactured home parks with those that are not on permanent foundations. You do not have to be on a permanent foundation within the MH zoning. There is a pad there, but it's more of a parking pad.
Thank you.
Commissioner Aldrich.
Christina, we received from staff some photographs, I guess, I'm assuming from some of the residents or around the area there. Some of that looked pretty bad as far as code enforcement violations. Has there been any issues that staff is aware of that?
I'm not aware of any code violations.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none, thank you, Christina. I should also let the record reflect that Commissioner Nix left at the beginning of this item. So we're down to 12 members. That's the applicant or agents to come forward. Give us your name and address for the record, and you'll have up to 10 minutes.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, good afternoon. Lance Onstad, Professional Engineering Consultants, 303 South Topeka, agent on behalf of the owner. The owner is in agreeance with the staff report, including the additional restrictions regarding additional setbacks and further restricting the amount of the property from an area perspective that can be used for the RV campgrounds. It's the owner's intention to reiterate that it continues to make the manufactured or mobile home uses the primary use of the property. This clearly a secondary use. Currently, there's approximately 75 vacancies of the approximate 540 lots available. Their intention is to start with approximately 10 sites dedicated or available for RV campground uses to kind of see how that goes, which will obviously require some site improvements that the owner is planning to make as well, new pads, new utility connections, and those types of upgrades to provide for that. It does not intend on advertising or recruiting overnight stays for these types of uses. These uses are their target is more in the 1 to 3 month stays. So with that, I'll definitely attempt to answer your questions that you guys may have.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Zimbelman.
So is the plan to designate a certain area in here that's going to be the RV, or are they just going to be helter-skelter mixed in on an empty lot?
The intention is to isolate those into a cohesive area within the property. So primarily, as you can tell from even the aerial, from just looking at vacancies from when this aerial was taken, towards the center of the property on the west side. So this is actually two parks, the Village Park that's on the west and the Lifestyle Park that's on the east. So a preliminary concentration is the middle of the Village Park portion.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you, sir, and please stand by. We'll now open it up for public comment. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this item, please go to the podium, give us your name and address, and you'll have up to 3 minutes.
My name is Peter Howell. I live at 11416 East Douglas Avenue, just east of Greenwich Road. Built a house there in 2021 as my retirement place, and have seen the area continue to get worse and worse. First, after Crestview Apartments came up, the traffic on Douglas Avenue between 127th and Greenwich Road is more than quadrupled. You can check police reports to see how many speeding tickets have been issued there in the last 2 or 3 years compared to 10 years prior. I will tell you that his numbers are a little bit off as well as far as properties. There's about 320, I would say, on just the west side of this planned, development, and probably only 81 of them right now are occupied. The rest are either boarded up or vacant. And for them to say they're only going to do 50% or 50 as an intention for RV campgrounds, I believe is a farce. I believe that they know about the Kellogg infrastructure change that's coming up, that's going to need a lot of construction workers in the next 5 to 10 years for a place to stay. The current hotels around the area will not accommodate that kind of growth for those 1 to 3 month stays that they're talking about. They're just going to switch over, and it's going to continue to be RV and travel trailers that are going to be in dismay without any additional conditions or rules to follow. The pictures that I sent in with a letter of petition to the council here, commission, recently, were not shown up here. You obviously have a copy of them from some of the comments I've heard, and it continues to deteriorate. I mean, it's been sitting this way for a couple, 2, 3 years. It's not just this week, not just last month. This property has been run this way because of an absent owner. Doesn't seem to care about it. I think it's changed hands multiple times, and the local management that's supposed to be enforcing their own rules has changed several times in the past few years. I know personally one of those managers that said he got fired because he couldn't get stuff cleaned up because they wouldn't give him the funding to do so. They've got fire lanes within here that you've seen, multiple cars per lot. I mean, you've got trailers in there that, to answer your question, Commissioner, is I don't believe any of them are on a solid foundation. I think they're all on bricks and strapped down and not even on concrete slabs. Most of them are dirt underneath, housing hundreds and hundreds of feral cats that just run around the neighborhood all the time. And there's a few residents in there that feed them, and that's why there's so many. But the bottom line is, as my letter obviously mentioned, I'm not going to go through this much, but I hope that you've at least read the note.
Okay, cool. Thank you, because your time is exceeded. Could you quickly show us, using the cursor, where your residence is? You gave us the address of Douglas, but I didn't pick up.
Right. It's a little.
Right in that area?
Right here.
Okay, thank you.
I'm right here, sir.
All right, appreciate that. Thank you. Next speaker?
Yes, my name is Mike Howell. I live at 11400 East Douglas, which is right next to his house, right there on the corner. And I've lived in this area for 30 years plus, and I've not seen any improvement on that trailer park except going downhill. By introducing this new rezoning with unrestrictions, it's just going to get worse. And it's going to devalue our properties. But I'm sure, like anything, when the prices go up, they stay up. When our market values go down because of this type of thing, it's going to have a profound effect on us property owners. And I cannot approve of a rezoning that's going to have that kind of effect. Plus all the other things that are outlined on our letters of concerns that were filed with you. Again, I was a little disappointed in the slideshow presentation that was given. There was a lot of stuff on those pictures that were not presented, which would give you a clearer indication of the condition of that trailer park. It's been that way for at least 10 to 12 years that I know of. I'm not sure exactly how many members or how many companies it's passed through during that 10-year period, but it's just gotten so bad that I got to tell you, I've considered selling and moving, and I just built my house in 2020. And it's a beautiful house, and I like it there. Very nice neighborhood when I first moved in, because we were in county at the time before the city annexed us in, and now it's just a shambles across the street. Directly out of my window, the back window, there's an area that used to be for RV storage. It's been piled up with 6 foot of weeds and piles of pallets, trash, washing machines, tires, you name it. And it's that way all the time until somebody complains, then they clean it up. It's just been recently cleaned up it's still in progress today because of this zoning, this application for this zoning. That's the only thing that's forced these people to start cleaning that lot up. So I have to say, I'm very opposed to this. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the speaker? Seeing none, thank you, sir. Next speaker?
Hello, my name's Larry Hiskin. I live at 11426 East Douglas. I have lived in this neighborhood for 68 years. My first job was painting the address numbers on each curb for this trailer court at the age of 14 years old. At the age of 15, I carried the Eagle and Beacon newspaper for 4 years at this trailer court. I have never seen nothing go downhill as fast as this place has. There are more feral cats there in this neighborhood than there are managers and landlords. And like he says, the people that live there feed them gallons. I have pictures. The numbers they have mentioned is wrong. Me and my wife ourselves went through there. There's around 80 livable trailers. There are 214 empty lots and 31 trailers that are boarded up with boards or metal or some kind of device that's an eyesore. This is the first time I've ever seen street names in that trailer court, let alone stop signs are missing at half the intersections. People just go wherever they want. The only time you see a police over there is someone's been stabbed or SWAT's on their knees crawling across there to get at someone that's wanted by the law. I have made complaints to the managers about this stuff, and they say it's private property. that the management has to make a complaint about it. I agree something needs to be done with this place. I'm all for someone to make things better. But I'm afraid once this Kellogg Road comes through and everything, these construction workers are gonna load their material up and leave and just destroy more roads on Douglas and Waterman and Greenwich Road. I appreciate y'all listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the speaker? Seeing none, thank you, sir. Next speaker?
Hi, my name is Rex Beals. I live at 11407 East Waterman, and I've been there for 65 years. I was there before this ever came about, when it got started, and like the rest of these, I've just seen it on a steady decline all the years. When it was first put in, every lot had a gas lamp out in front for street lights. And now, not even all the trailers have numbers on them. And I've seen the cops and the fire department go through there hunting for an address they got called to, and because they don't have a map that has all these numbers on it, and there's no street signs, there's no way for them to find the location they're supposed to be going to. And that's one thing I'd like to see changed, so they can get some EMS and fire services in there.
Any questions for the speaker? Seeing none, thank you, sir. Next speaker?
Joe Contney. I'm affiliated with 11300 East Douglas for the past 50 years. This mobile home park expansion is not a great idea. I live on the second house from the corner off of Douglas and Greenwich, and I've been broken into over there 3 times. There's been one time there was an assailant that was caught in the house, and they all come from the mobile home park, and they don't seem to do anything about the police presence because it's private property. And until they can come in there and do what they need to do, it's going to continue. And there's also houses there that are not in repair. They don't enforce it. There's one that I know of that's partially on its side because of it's fallen apart. And there's no access since they put in all the new houses along 127th, and then the low-income housing on the south end of 127th on Douglas. There's just only that way in and 127th, and you can't even get out of your driveway in the morning when Beechcraft and everything else are going to work at 7 o'clock. You have to wait. They think they own the road. So I'm not for any adding more traffic to that street or anything like that until they justify what they can do with the sidewalk, the street, the curbing, and access into there, and how they're going to secure the properties. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the speaker? Seeing none, thank you, sir. Next speaker? Anyone else? Sir, you've already had your chance. Your time is, so anyone else? Seeing no other public requests, we'll bring it back to the applicant for rebuttal. You'll have 2 minutes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple quick things regarding traffic. So kind of concentrate on some of the land use specific things here to start. So traffic-wise, I don't think it's we would anticipate that this particular use that's being applied for would generate any additional traffic on Douglas or Waterman or Greenwich for that matter, as opposed to if every lot was full with a manufactured house. So regarding traffic, if anything, we would consider possibly some additional traffic or accessing off of Greenwich Road, and we're more than welcome to further that conversation about how to prevent that, any additional trips on Douglas and Waterman. The occupancy numbers that were provided, that I stated, were provided by the owner as of this morning. I haven't been made aware of any potential code violations, property maintenance concerns, or any of the images or the concerns that were relayed in the petition, but we are happy to discuss those, continue discussing those. The owner did let me know this morning that there is some current activity happening on the site and has been planned since they were in ownership of it, in addition to a considerable amount of fence repair that's happening, that's currently planned to kick off here soon. All the response I have, yep.
Thank you. We have a couple of questions. Commissioner Aldrich?
Sir, how long has the present owner owned the property?
I can't give you an exact time, but they're fairly recent of an owner.
Can he?
Years, like
Okay.
single-digit
Yeah.
years.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Mader? That was your question as well? All right. Seeing no other questions, thank you, sir. Oh, hold on. Commissioner Warren?
Well, that was my question too, but my wondering is, you know, what's the applicant doing to bring this, you're not gonna be able to rent spaces if this is as bad as we're hearing. I haven't driven through it, so I can't speak from firsthand. But, and the other side of that is if the one way that the owner might be able to get more money is to have an additional source of income. So it may be that we need to approve something like this in order to give them that option. But if they don't do improvement, nothing's gonna work there.
Yeah, and if I can add to that, it's definitely part of the intention of the application is that they are, because obviously they would like to increase the activity within the site from which will impact safety, value, demand, all of those things, right? But being able to diversify some of those options should help with the return on it, you know, the investment back into the park itself.
Commissioner High?
Where's the owner located?
They have properties all across the country. They are out of Philadelphia.
Seeing no further questions, thank you. Appreciate your time. Bring it back to the board for discussion and action. Philip?
Yeah, I wanted to just identify on page 6 in the staff recommended language, item number 4, screening shall be provided per section 4B of the Unified Zoning Code. I think we need to add a clarifying statement. Sorry, we didn't catch this before, that it interacts with items number 8 and 9. As Christina mentioned in the narrative of the staff report, that the screening would not be required if that setback of 120 feet is accomplished, and that only 50% of the area is by RV camp. So I propose of adding something to item number 4 that says, provided that screening is not required if provisions 8 and 9 are met. I just want to make that clarification so that depending on how this goes, if it were to move forward, that the text of the PUD was as intended based on the setback and the percentage of the mobile home park, manufactured home park being occupied as only being 50%. So just want to make sure that clarification is there. Sorry, that was a lot of words. In short, adding a statement onto the end of provision number 4 that says that screening shall be provided per section 4B of the Unified Zoning Code, provided that screening is not required if provisions 8 and 9 are met. Provisions 8 and 9 identify the 120-foot setback and that the only 50% of the manufactured home park would be available for RVs.
Commissioner Aldrich?
I have a question for staff. Again, from some of the photos that I've seen and stuff, it's bad over there. What would trigger, or why hasn't it been triggered, or it hasn't been triggered, any code enforcement to help enforce the situation over there?
Well, and I think that's part of the interesting part from the discussion that's happened is that code enforcement in the city of Wichita is done on a complaint basis. And in this situation, those, because it's not a land use violation, most of what I've heard about are the conditions of the properties itself. That would be something that MABCD would oversee. In addition, though, I guess I should mention that the comments about the stop signs and the street names, that those appear to be public streets looking at GIS. So that would be under Public Works to maintain and make sure that those signs are in place. But overall, when it comes to the trailers themselves, I believe that that's a housing complaint that would go to MABCD for enforcement.
So the people that have spoke here, that would be a really good option for them to do, is to make those calls, I guess.
Yes, sir. And there's a couple of different ways that they can check in on that. They can call MABCD. They also have an online portal where you can look up the status of existing cases or even find out if there are any existing cases.
Thank you.
Seeing no other comments or questions, we're ready for action. I make a motion that we approve, subject to staff conditions with the additional language Philip read as it relates to items 4. Correct? We all good with that? Do I have a second? Second. We have a second by Commissioner Dool. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Same sign. Motion.
Nay.
Hold on. So we have more than, we have to do a roll call vote, please.
Yes, sir.
All right.
So this is on the motion to approve, subject to the change mentioned for condition number 4. Fry?
Aye.
Mader? McKay? Dool? Bill Johnson?
Aye.
Hi. Nix is absent. Klontz? Warren? Joe Johnson?
Aye.
Miles is absent. Zimbelman? No. Aldridge?
No.
Williams Bay?
No.
The vote is 7-5. Motion passes.
And that is our last item. We are adjourned. Thank you all. Chili cook-off Saturday.